karma into Dharma. We might have noticed that in the schedule, the name of the talk could have been a little bit different, but that's the way I feel like it should be. Yesterday we talked about karma, and I was hoping today to continue the talk from yesterday, but most people who were here yesterday are not here today. So I guess it's okay for me to brush a little, talk a little bit about karma before we jump into Dharma. It's important to understand the concept of karma if you want to understand Dharma. You will know why once I talk about it. So let's jump into karma. Let's define this word. This word is one of the most popular Sanskrit words nowadays, even in the West, such as Dharma, karma, yoga. All these words are in Sanskrit. They came all from the yoga philosophy, the yoga literature. What is the meaning of the word karma? We have different conceptions according to our background, upbringing, the country we live in. In my country, the conception we have of karma is something really bad. Something really bad that's happening to you. Usually people from my country say, oh, this is my karma. I have to deal, especially if it's someone who's been poking you, let's say. Someone who's been testing a few of your qualities such as patience, tolerance in your life. We call the person, we say, oh, it's my karma to have to deal with this special personality in my life. What is your idea of karma? Do you have an idea of what karma means?
Yeah, goes around, comes around.
What goes around comes
but
around?
Positive or negative, if what you put out, you get back.
All right, cool. That's a good definition of it. Does anyone have a different idea? What goes around comes around. Good song by Justin Timberlake. Remember the one? He was singing about karma. Yeah, he's spiritually advanced.
Taylor Swift karma song. His boyfriend. Taylor Swift.
Oh, I don't know this one. I have to look for it. I'm gonna look for that one later.
Yeah.
Any other ideas of karma? There's no right or wrong. We're just brainstorming.
I think I have a similar kind of pop cultural understanding of karma. Like you hear it talked about, it's like, oh, this is my karma. It usually has a negative kind of connotation.
Negative connotation. Yeah, okay, interesting. Thank you. So let's analyze it as a teacher would do. We look at the grammar, the etymology. Etymology is the origin of the word, right? So what is the origin of the word karma? It comes from the root in Sanskrit, of course, kr. So K-R with a dot under the R. Kr, which means to act or to do. It's a verb. So the simple meaning, the basic meaning of karma is to do something, to create an action or to act. Now it's very interesting because some of the words in English came from Sanskrit. And one word which came from kr, K-R, is create. How awesome is this? It's the exact same meaning and the sound also. Phonetically, the pronunciation is the same in the beginning. Of course, later on, K was replaced by C. But the idea of karma is the idea of acting, okay? But the practical approach we have, though, is that when we act, we have a result. And even European philosophers, such as Newton, have come up with this idea that every action has a reaction, right? So it's not a new idea. This is something that is not so difficult to perceive in life as well. Another definition yoga philosophy gives to karma is the law of justice. Why? Well, it's not so difficult also to see. It's very interesting because it's easy to see how what goes around comes around, but sometimes it's difficult to see that happening, and it's kind of simultaneously going on because, for example, in my country, and by the way, I'm from Brazil, if you're wondering, right?
South America somewhere, I thought.
Yeah, so I'm from Brazil. I have the fortune and the grace of being born in such a beautiful country and lots of natural resources, no earthquakes, no volcanoes, no cyclones. It's pretty rich in natural resources of any kind you can think of. We found petrol down there in the ocean. There's a lot of species of any kind of animal you can imagine. The biggest rainforest in the world, the Amazon forest, and a lot of different kinds of climate and vegetation and natural habitats. But, in case you're wondering, just like I was before, why aren't we the #1 country in the world? Because if you think about it, we have all the potential to be the richest or the best country to live in. Weather is good, in case you're wondering that as well. It's varied, but it's good, generally speaking. It's better than Melbourne where I live now. Although that's not something difficult to achieve, I believe, a place to have better weather than Melbourne. But we have a big problem there, called the politicians, right? They manipulate, they steal a lot from our taxes, and in the end, nothing comes back to us. So, because of bad management, the country has been drowning for years and years and years and years, and we cannot overcome this problem because they dictate the laws. So who is going to stop them, right? Now, one thing that came to my mind about karma regarding this, if you're wondering, why is this guy talking about his country? It's this. These guys have been stealing from us for so long, and they don't give anything back to us. In Australia, for example, most Australians or people who live here complain about the taxes, obviously, because it's a big amount, it's a big chunk of your payment that you have to pay. But at least you see that it's coming back, right? For example, it's a safe place to live. At least that I can attest, right? At least it's safer than Brazil. In Brazil, you pay a lot of taxes, even more than Australia, and cost of living is even higher, salary is way lower, currency is ridiculous compared to the Australian dollar, and it's dangerous, there's no health care, education is really bad, you have no access to even sometimes, how do you call the sanitary system? I don't know how to call that, sorry. But some people don't have, let's say, drinkable water. Some people depending on where you live, have to take a boat to go to school, and well, there's no assistance from the government whatsoever to help us in any regard. And I always thought, when is the punishment gonna come for these guys? Because they've been stealing us for so long and nothing happens to them. They have a good life, they have boats, helicopters, private jets, big lands, big farms, and all sorts of mature facilities, and nothing happens to them. Seems like this world is unfair because we are here, we are good people, we've been working hard, and we get nothing in exchange. Only disappointment, frustration, and violence, and all these things. So I had this thought, and I could not understand how that worked before coming to the yoga philosophy, and that's why I think it's important to understand karma. Otherwise, it's pretty easy to feel resentful and to feel envious and jealous and all these sorts of things. And these emotions are not positive. They're not good ones to cultivate inside our hearts, right? Karma. Now I have a question for you. Is karma something more like a credit card or something more like a debit card? In the context I was telling you about the politicians, I had this idea that karma should be like a debit card. What happens when you tap your card if it's debit? It takes the money from your account in the moment, right, on the spot. If it's a credit card, then it takes some time, right? It says pending or something like that on your Commonwealth app. And then after some time, it gets deducted from your account, right? So how does karma work? Is it more like credit? Is it more like debit? I had this idea that it should be like debit. Look at these guys, they're doing all this. Maybe one day they should just have a heart attack, or they should have a car accident. They should just die. I had this revengeful, let's say, kind of feeling, but it's not healthy, but also it's not difficult to understand why I would have that. If you could visit, depending on the country you go, just if you go to Indonesia, for example, which is a popular destination for Australians, If you go to the main places, okay, but if you go to the area where local people live, you see, man, that's not an easy life they have. And then if you wonder why this is going on, and you know, all the Australians are here and they are partying, they have so much money, and the Indonesian people, they don't have anything. And then you go to India, you see the same thing going on. And in some countries, you see the same thing happening in the same country, sometimes in the same city, sometimes in the same area, sometimes on the same street. Right? Social inequality. So a few people have a lot, and a lot of people have just a little.
Yeah.
So we tend to think it's debit, and we tend to think that this person should be punished now and all this, but it's all because of our limited vision. Something that needs to be understood is who we are, and I'm going to talk about this later. On the other hand, you can think like this. Oh, I'm such a good person, but I cannot achieve any of my goals. What's going on? Everything is just drowning, and I haven't met the love of my life yet. I haven't got my dream job yet. Or I have got all these, but I'm not fulfilled yet. I still feel like I need something more. It's easy also to fall in a place of victimism. And again, either resentment or revenge. Is it revengefulness? The noun for revenge, maybe? Or the place of victim. Neither of them are good for us. So we got to dispose of these ideas, and the concept of karma is going to help us. But we have to understand this part first. Okay, now I remember one day I was here on the farm, and you know, in our community, it's very easy to understand, to perceive, to look within yourself, and see how much you still have to grow. Because we deal with people all the time, and especially in a volunteer setting, because there's no payment, people cannot be fired, and all these sorts of intricacies or details, things become even more interesting, because it's do or die. There's no way of I'm quitting or you should fire this guy. No, you're here all together serving the same purpose, and good luck with it. Because you never know where people come from. They arrive here and they made that education, the way the parents did the job was not the same as the way someone did to you. You were not raised with the same culture and all these things. So sometimes people just don't want to follow the rules. And then I get pissed off by that. Because I'm the manager of the temple team in the kitchen in the morning. Sometimes, actually 6 days a week I'm hands-on, and one day I'm the manager. But I kind of supervise, and then I'm just doing the tasks themselves. And you know, you tell people to do things, they ignore you, or they don't obey you, or it's kind of not that easy. But also it's not easy for me to see how I respond to these things. I feel like, oh my goodness, I really need to work on my tolerance, my patience, and all these qualities. And one day I had this feeling, really bad feeling. You know, a guy came to me and told me some things, and I was just feeling, man, this guy, you know, why is he still here? Or I was ruminating all these bad thoughts. Then I went to have lunch, and I was thinking about him, and with really hard feelings. And the first bite I had, I was hungry, so I just had a big bite of the food I was having for lunch, and it just burnt my tongue. And I just thought, oh my goodness, that was a quick one. That was like debit card.
Yeah.
I thought bad things about the guy, and then my tongue was burnt. But this is not exactly how karma works. I think I've already spoke about this. I'm not going to be too long here. We have two kinds of lives. For example, here in this picture is easy to see. There's a guy here, he's got a lot of food, he's got a nice house, and these other people live in the streets. They don't have food and they don't have a house, but they are kind of trying to eat the smoke coming out of the food from that guy. So this is a good picture to represent how the world looks like economically right now. And then one might ask, why do some people are born in a first world country with access to education, healthcare, the parents pay for the universities, the parents give them a car when they turn 16 or 18, and other people are born in a very bad country, they have no access to education, health, Sometimes they starve. How can this be fair? Where is the sense of justice? It's really difficult to understand. That's why we have to work with the options we've got. We've got two options. First one is be resentful, start complaining about everything and trying to blame everyone around you. Oh, it's because of the country I came from, or it's because of my parents, or it's because of my childhood trauma, it's because of the moon, the stars, my sun sign, my doshas, whatever from Ayurveda. Or the other option is you assume responsibility. Okay, this is the life I have right now. It's not perfect by any means, but what can I do to overcome whatever is bringing me down? And I think this is a better option than the first one. And I'm not saying that people don't have the rights to feel sad or disappointed, frustrated by the background they came from, because I know it could be really tough. But nevertheless, we should not just fall in this place of, oh, I'm so poor, and I've fallen into this place of a victim before, and I still kind of put myself there, but it's not worth it. But to understand how karma works, we gotta understand a very important concept in yoga. Yoga says that this body is temporary, and it's obvious, isn't it? This body comes to an end. It could be tomorrow, it could be in 1 week, it could be in 10 years, 20, 30, 50, we don't even know. It's a big mystery, right? The mystery of life. But it also says that we are not this body. This is what the yoga philosophy says. It says that we are Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat means eternal. Chit means completely conscious of who you are, and Ananda means blissful. And if you take a look at the material world, the place we're living on now, the place we live in, this planet, it's all the contrary. We are Sat, eternal, but we are in a body which is temporary. We are Chit, completely conscious of who we are, but even materially speaking, it's difficult to understand who we are, what to speak of spiritually speaking. And we are Ananda, blissful, but we come to this world, and because everything is temporary, it's difficult to find real happiness. What we tend to do is find pleasure. But in yoga, we understand that pleasure is different from happiness, right? One might give you some sense of happiness in the moment, but it's not everlasting. Happiness is something that's going to make you smile, let's say, for the rest of your life. Instead of, well, I have a good example about that as well. And forgive me, is it Julie?
Mm-hmm.
Forgive me, Julie, forgive me the same example I gave yesterday. But it's just something that happened to me, and I cannot stop myself from saying it because it's a good example for pleasure versus happiness. One day I went to Coles and they had this special thing going on. So most of the things were half the price. And I found a big fan of chocolate. And my favorite one, if you're wondering if you're going to give me a gift tomorrow, is Kit Kat. Because I'm a kid, so I like sugar. I don't like dark chocolate, bitter. If it's chocolate, it's a dessert. If it's a dessert, it's sweet. That's how I work. And I went to Coles and I was comparing the bars, because they have different sizes and packages and all this stuff. I was trying to see which one is the cheapest one. And they had this family pack, family value, whatever they call it. And there were 30 really small Kit Kat chocolate bars, and it was the cheapest one per 100 gram. So I thought, this is the cheapest one, I'm gonna buy it, and it's 30, so I can eat one a day, and then it's gonna last for a month. Silly me. Guess what happened? I was going back to, so this was from work to home at night. I was going to work, and I was waiting for the tram in front of Flinders Street Station, and all this stress going on. 15 minutes for the tram to come. I was like, oh, maybe I could spend some time eating a good chocolate on the way home. So I had a bite. Okay, cool. Then I was on the tram, and The journey is so long, it's gonna take 40 minutes. Maybe I can have 2 on the way. So I had 2. And then I got home and I thought, okay, it's time to have dinner. But before dinner, while it's on the microwave, I can have another one. And obviously, after dinner, what happened is just I had one after the other and I finished the whole thing on the same day. And that's me. Was it nice while I was eating? Yes, it was awesome. Wow, it's so sweet. Of course, it's sugar loaded and it's made for you to become addicted and eat more and more. And I'm pretty aware of that. But nonetheless, I couldn't stop myself from eating it. When I went to bed, my stomach was so upset. And I became upset with myself. I was thinking, why did I do this? This was so silly to do. I knew this was going to happen, but I did it anyway. Why? Because I could not control my senses. The tongue, it said, is the most difficult sense to control. That's why in the morning we sing the song Sharira Vida. Oh, not in the morning, before every meal we have here, we sing the song Sharira Vida Jal Jundedriya Tahekal. And one of the lines says that the tongue is the most difficult sense to control for 2 reasons. First, it's very difficult to speak in an adequate way, meaning you only speak the truth and you only speak positive words. And also, it's very difficult to control the tongue when it comes to eating and drinking substances. Well, when you come here, you have this perspective because you go to have lunch and you think, oh, today I'm going to go light. I'm going to only have the salads and the raw stuff. But then suddenly there's a piece of cake in the middle of it all, and you're, oh, I'm on a retreat. I deserve it. It's a one-off thing. The pancakes today with maple syrup. Oh yeah, man, that was because you think, oh, when am I gonna have pancakes again? Yeah. I should have 5 today. So yeah, what happened to me was I was regretting all the chocolate I had, and this was something which is we could say small kind of regret, not such a serious kind of thing to be worried about. But if you indulge in these things regularly, constantly, and you just let your mind tell you what to do, just follow whatever your mind says, you can be in big trouble, right? For example, my grandpa, I have never met him because he destroyed his liver before I was born from drinking too much alcohol. And there are different ways the tongue can catch you, and then you cannot control your mind, and because you cannot control your mind, you let go and you just fulfill all the desires of the mind and you get up entrapped. But getting back to our talk here, I'm saying all this because we understand by looking at our thoughts, feelings and desires, which are the functions of the mind actually to feel, to think and to desire, that we are not the mind. Because the mind is feeling, thinking and desire horrible things at times, right? Someone does something to me and I'm gonna punch this guy in the face, but then, oh, why am I thinking like this? I shouldn't have been thinking like this. So you understand by observing that you are not these kind of thoughts. So who are you? And yoga says you are a spirit soul. You are a spiritual living being who is temporarily inhabiting this material temporary body, right? But the thing is, we don't belong here. This is something which is crucial to understand for someone who is on the way of spirituality. If you understand that you are a spirit, consequently comes also the lesson that you don't belong to the material plane, let's say, right? It's incompatible. When you take a life of responsibility, what is the meaning of it? It means everything we do matters, right? And no wonder why not too many people take to this path. Because if everything you do matters, then you have to think twice before doing things. That's why if you go to a pub now, or not now, but maybe even now, but later on at night, you see so many people there. But if you drive, go past the church, you see maybe 10% of the amount of people. Because we don't want to take responsibility. We don't want to think about tomorrow. We don't want to think that everything we do matters. We just want to enjoy the moment but it's a pretty dangerous idea. Who's behind all my problems? Oh damn, it's me. That's a meme I found actually. I was looking for something funny to show on the presentation. I came across this one and I think it's pretty relevant. So this is exactly what having a meaningful life means. That you assume responsibility for everything you do. And this is the only way for us to get rid of bad thoughts such as blaming, complaining, and being a victim, right? Because if you complain, it means, oh, it's not my fault, it's their fault. And if you put yourself in the place of a victim, it's also saying, oh, it's not my fault, I'm a victim of the country I was born, the family who raised me, and the educational system, whatever this relationship trauma I had. The idea is that then you take responsibility for your own acts, and it's related to karma in the sense that every action has a reaction, right? So you have to think carefully before you act in this world. Oh, okay. Let's talk about this. Okay, I think we've already kind of discussed this, but anyways, if I asked you guys, if you could choose to have good karma or bad karma, what would you prefer? Good karma. Okay, Jordan's the first one to take it because she was the only one who said it. And you might think, oh, this guy is kind of naive, because what kind of question is this? Of course everybody's going to say good karma. But the thing is, if you think about it, none of them are good. Why? If you act in a positive way, we are talking about cards, so let's imagine a bank account, right? You have the positive balance and the negative balance. When you do something positive, you deposit something on the positive bank account balance. If you do something bad to other people, then your balance grows on the negative side, right? So during our life, we have a certain amount of negative balance and positive balance. And then it's very detailed. I cannot talk about this on the time I have today, but basically speaking, there's some accounting which goes on in the end of our lives which shapes our next life. And even on this life also, of course, we have the reactions for the things we do. Otherwise, you'd be meaningless to have plans, goals, and we could just think, oh, my karma is gonna come, I don't have to do anything. It's not how it works. It's not exactly how it works. We gotta do things, right? We gotta take action. Now, of course, if you gotta take action, it's better to take two positive than negative ones. But why is that good karma is not good? Because of this. So this is a modern representation of what yoga calls samsara. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but usually in the Buddhist paintings, it's scary. That's why I didn't want to have a scary picture here, because it's usually a representation of something like a demon and then everything is burning. But it's the same idea. It's a wheel, okay? The wheel of life. This is a modern representation because this is how society works nowadays, right? We have Uncle Sam Dan, our dear American friend, and the American way of life that everybody's living right now, which is running like rats on a wheel after money, basically speaking, right? And we are, as you can see in those pictures, promoting wars, and you're destroying nature and polluting the environment, and all because you are entrapped in this cycle of I want pleasure, I need money for pleasure, whatever are the consequences, I don't care. So that's what we've been doing. But even if you think that you are not in this category, we are, because of course I don't promote wars or anything like that, but the main idea is that deep down inside, unfortunately, we still have this sense of looking for pleasure for our senses. And what yoga says is that this is not what we should be doing. So even if you come back to this mature world with a positive karma, okay, let's talk about the intricacies of karma, because we kind of have some time. So what karma brings us is 4 things, right? If you think about your current life, how it was shaped, karma gave you 4 things in this life: Jama, Ashwarya, Shruta, and Shribi. Jama means birth. So where were you born? In which country? In which city? How was your family like? How was the support? Was there any support? How was the educational background and all these things? Then, so Jama, then Ashwarya. Are you rich? Were you rich before? Do you have facility to make money? How's your financial life? This is defined by your karma. Shruta, are you intelligent? Are you kind of an intellectual kind of person, or do you have any skills that are special, let's say? And Shribi means physical beauty. So how does your body look like? If your body looks nice, then you have good karma. If your body doesn't look that nice, then you can understand that your previous actions were not that good. But don't worry, because all of you look good. I don't know about the other things. Intelligent you are, I'm pretty sure, because you were interested in spiritual topics. So you are a selected group who is here today, who wanted to listen to this, which means you are ahead of most people who are not paying attention to these things in life. But I'm not too sure about your upbringing, I'm not too sure about your facility to make money, but in case you were wondering, these are the 4 things karma shapes in our lives. And we are shaping for next life as well. Birth or family, facility to make money, intelligence, and beauty, right? But the problem is, even if you come next life and you have a good birth and a good family, you're rich, you're intelligent, and you're beautiful, it's very rare actually to have all these things combined. Usually it's the case that either we have none or have one of them, sometimes 2. But it's really difficult to find someone who is born in a good family, is rich, intelligent, and healthy, and beautiful. You'll be something like a demigod on earth, right? To find. But even if you take a look at these personalities, there are many of them who are still not happy. And you can take a look, for example, at Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is I admire him a lot, let's say. He's a special personality. But he had depression. And his videos have gone viral online. And these videos are those in which he talks about how, I like this quote of his. He says, I wish everyone had the money I have, just so they could understand being rich doesn't fulfill your emptiness. Mm-hmm. I like this quote from Jim Carrey. And you also see some other people. For example, my main idol, let's say when I grew up when I was a teenager, is Chester Bennington, the vocalist of Linkin Park. Pretty famous band. He committed suicide. Famous, good looking, intelligent, whatever. Good, has a son and a wife, beautiful family. Could not take it, and so many others we see, right? Kurt Cobain and many musicians, but also all the personalities. And by looking at that, we can see that even if you come here in this world with such good attributes or good luggage, even if you bring with you all these things for a previous life, that's not going to fulfill your basic need, which is yoga. Now, in order to understand yoga, we come to the concept of Dharma. All right, so do you have any idea of what Dharma means?
Walking out path.
Wow, it's beautiful. Where did you learn that?
Yoga.
Okay, cool. Walking our path. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful definition. I like that one. Any other ideas? All right. So because I have this problem of thinking that I'm an intellectual, I like to study the etymology of words, right? And the word dharma in Sanskrit comes from the root dhr, D-H-R, again with a dot in the under R, so it's dhr. And this root word dhr means that which sustains. And we can understand Dharma in a practical way as the purpose of our existence. Now, how deep is this topic? How interesting is talking about this? And we're not talking about casual things we do in life. We're talking about something way deeper than this. For example, the Dharma of water is to wet. It should be liquid. If it's not liquid, it's not wet, it's not water. It could be water in another state, let's say, but we call that ice or smoke, but it's not water. If it's water, it's liquid or wet. So that's the purpose of water. The existence of it depends on these characteristics. If there's none of these characteristics, it's not water. Now let's talk about fire. What does fire do?
Heat.
It heats, it burns. That's what fire does. It also lights up. If it doesn't light up, if it doesn't burn, if it doesn't heat up, it's not fire, right? So I want you to close your eyes now. Let's do this meditation, please. Take a deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do it 3 times. Now do it on your own pace. Inhale and exhale slowly 3 times. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Keep your eyes closed. What I want you to think now is, just like the purpose of water is to wet and it's to be liquid and it cannot be called water otherwise, or the purpose of fire is to burn and to heat and to light up and it cannot be called fire otherwise, what is your purpose? What is the characteristic that defines who you are in the deepest sense? Please slowly open up your eyes. Right. So this is a introspective reflection. Okay, I'm not going to ask you about anything like that. I just want you to carry this from this session. At least if there's one thing that I want you to think about is this: who are you deep down inside? And when you talk about Dharma, it's easy to confuse and think that we are one thing called Swadharma. We have 2 different kinds of dharmas, right? The first one is Swadharma. So this is presented in the Bhagavad Gita, in case you don't know, is the most important book on yoga. And there, Krishna talks about Swadharma. What is Swadharma? So this is the first one. What's the dharma of a plant? Provide us, many depending on the plant, but generally speaking, nature provides us oxygen and also eliminates carbon, right? So they work as a purifying machine, let's say. And is there a time in which a tree doesn't provide you oxygen and doesn't take carbon? No. The birds, for example, is there a time in which they're not dropping seeds around to provide new lives? No. What about the fishes, the monkeys? If you think about nature, everyone is following their dharma perfectly, right? Unless, of course, human beings show up and interfere. But it's so beautiful to think that if bees were not on the planet, we wouldn't exist. And by the way, we have a beekeeping place here, in case you're wondering, and we even make honey. Not too much, but we make some honey, and this honey is offered on the altar and it goes on food. Yeah. Special preparations, not every day, because it's a, homemade kind of thing. So it's not like we're gonna have equipment, machines, and torture the animals to extract as much as we can. It's one devotee who's been taking care of it, and she's been doing a great job. She just came up with this idea. I think it's an 18-year-old girl. She's been living here for 4 years or something. We call that a prodigy, right? Someone who, from a young age, decides to leave everything behind, come to the temple, have a spiritual life. And then she had this idea, I want to take care of bees. Can you make some honey here and take care of bees? And she became a beekeeper. Very unique thing, right? So it's just the thought that nature is perfect in harmony, right? And what about us? We can talk about many different dharmas or purposes in this life. So when we talk about Swadharma, we're talking about the job you have, or being with your family. Who are you in your job? Who are you in your family? Who are you with your friends? Who are you in the village when you are on holidays or something like that? And we have these different duties that you have to act on. For example, when you are at work, you have to behave in a certain way, but that's different from how you behave when you are with your parents or with your children or with your friends, right? They might even call you by different names. They treat you in a different mood and all these kind of things. But we are not that. Many people, when we talk about Dharma, and we give a good definition of Dharma, which I believe is, what do you have in your heart which is unique to contribute to the world and make it a better place? So this is a reflection I want you to have and again take away from this session. What is that unique thing I can offer to the world to make it a better place? If you think about this, then it's going to clarify your mind and it's going to help you a lot to understand who you are, what you have to do, your uniqueness, and how to follow the path of life. Unfortunately, we've been just rolling down the hill. We don't usually think about these things. It's something like, oh, I need to make money, I'm going to work on this, and with this money I'm going to pay rent, and after that I'm going to find someone to live with me. Hopefully I'm going to find someone who can tolerate me, and then I'm going to have a few kids, and I'm going to have to work triple as hard to pay for childcare, education, mortgage, and all these things, and then I'm going to die. Does it sound like a plan? Yay! And again, that's what everybody's been doing for ages and ages and ages. But now it's the time to wake up, right? So one of the things which help us wake up to reality is to think about our Dharma. What is our mission here? What are we meant to do? I cannot tell you what is your Dharma because it's something unique. It's something that only you know, or you may even not know, but at one point it's going to come to you if you look for it. Because obviously if you take a look outside, you see that people don't even know what they want. But it's because they don't look for it. But we know from other literatures that knock and the door shall open. But you gotta knock first. You cannot just sit in front of the door. Is this ever gonna open? It's not like that, right? But this Dharma, the Swadharma, is temporary. Okay? Being with your family, sorry to say, it's temporary. Either they're gonna live before you, you're gonna live before them. We're not gonna live here forever with our families. Should we love them? Yes. Should we care about them? Yes. Should we do as much as we can to help them in any sort of ways? Yes. But this is not the goal of life, according to yoga, because, again, it's temporary and we are eternal, right? What about your job? Is your job temporary? Obviously, please, can I retire? Well, I will not be able to retire in Australia because I arrived 2 years ago, and if I want to work for 50 years, then it'd be kind of complicated. But jobs, we change jobs, right? In Australia, it's actually very easy to see this because there's so many immigrants, and even Australian people, they're not too attached to their occupations. I've met heaps of people who, they're Australian born, and I always thought, oh, these Australian people, they have free TAFE, in university so cheap. They must have these crazy kind of good, high society level jobs. Oh yeah. If you compare for a domestic student, Australian citizen to study, for example, the course they want to study is education secondary. It's 5,000 for an Australian person per year, and for me it's 35,000. So I consider 5,000 pretty cheap.
Yeah, TAFE's not free anymore. I'm a TAFE teacher.
Okay, sorry about that. I think some courses would be, right? Maybe.
They run some fee-free courses,
yeah.
But they're not certificates anymore. They try to
all
get
right.
you in, fishing money.
Good.
But it's still it's subsidised from the government. So yeah, it's based on your circumstances.
Okay. Your attar and all that.
No, it's based on your personal circumstances.
Okay.
So like if you don't work, it'll be heavily subsidised. If you're a mother, single mom, yeah, if you're on the
so there's some
pension,
discounts depending on where
yeah,
you come from.
but you still got to pay something.
All right. So, well, regardless, it's still cheaper to be an Australian and study than to be an immigrant and study. And I thought everyone here would have this super kind of jobs, but I talk to many Australian people, and I'm not saying that these jobs are bad by any means, but it just seems like they don't care too much about it because, oh, I'm a waiter, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that, oh, okay, all right. So we understand that these jobs are temporary, right? They work in retail for 5 years and then come become a barista for 3 more years, and so especially when you're an immigrant like me or my 2 friends here, one from Canada, the one from Ecuador. Yeah. Because you're always moving. Oh, I came to Melbourne, for example, but I'm so tired, sick and tired of Melbourne. I might have to go somewhere else, and of course I have to change my job, and then after that I don't know what's going to happen. There's the visa as well, and sometimes we have to work with something we don't even like just because we want to be sponsored and have the Australian dream come true, which is, oh, finally, you can live here. You don't have the pressure, the gun behind your head saying, visas expire next month, visas expire next month. So it's all temporary. It's all temporary, right? You cannot rely. Good luck relying on a job, thinking that your boss loves you and he's gonna keep that for you. So we understand that all these different purposes, these all different dharmas are okay, but it's not something that we should think, oh, my life is based on my job, or the purpose of my existence, in my case, is to be a teacher, or is to be a waiter, or is to be a cleaner, or to be a plumber, or electrician, or yoga teacher, or whatever. There is ways of working this through, but it's not exactly the fact that our life depends on this, because if your life depends on something temporary, you're in a pretty dangerous position in this world, right? When it comes to relationships, people sometimes, or usually, think, oh, I love this person, and this person completes me. And when the relationship comes to an end, is a disaster, because the other part thought that you were everything for them, and now they don't have everything anymore. They think they have nothing, and good luck with that, right? So the idea is that don't rely on these things, right? Walking on eggs, that's what we do in this mature world. Now, there's another Dharma. Okay, let's talk about something more interesting now, the positive part of it. This is a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 47. Can anyone read, please? The translation. You don't need to read the Sanskrit. You can just read the translation, the English. You have?
Yeah. Do you want me to read it?
Can you read it?
You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
Thank you. This is, for me, the verse in the Bhagavad Gita which helps us the most in understanding Dharma. Let's break it down. It says, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty. For example, my prescribed duty is to raise my children. My prescribed duty is to be a husband, a wife. My prescribed duty is to work in this field. My prescribed duty here is to volunteer in the village. Whatever it is. But you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Now, what are the fruits of action? Sometimes you think it's money, but it's not only the salary, but it's everything that comes with it. For example, I'm volunteering here in the village. Let's say, suppose I'm talking about Dharma at the Lotus Pot, just a supposition. And only suppose, that in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about the fruits of my action. Fruit means something you collect, you pick up, right? So it's the result of the action. What's the fruit I'm thinking about? Oh, I hope in the end of the class everybody claps and says, wow, that was wonderful. Another fruit that I might think of having is, I hope they come in the end and thank me for saving their lives and giving a new purpose for their existence. And all these things. So, and I'm recording videos, I might think, oh, I hope I get a lot of followers and I'm praised and all these things. And let's just suppose that this is in the back of my mind. So unfortunately, in this world, before taking any steps, before doing anything, we have so many intentions behind our actions. Sometimes we don't even realize. But then when they're not fulfilled, oh, wow, why isn't this person thanking me for doing them a favor? And we start to have all these sorts of complications inside. So what Krishna is saying here in the Bhagavad Gita is that you have the right to do the things that you are entitled to do, but it doesn't mean that you have to desire anything from it. So just do whatever you have to do without expecting anything in exchange, right? Is this easy to do? No. But should we work towards this anyway? Yes. Then he says, never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities. Let's give an example. Suppose I'm giving a class about Dharma at the Lotus Pod, and then someone comes and thanks me saying, hey, that was such a nice class. I'm really glad I could hear you for an hour. I can't believe I didn't sleep during the whole thing. And I say, yes, me neither. And I might think that I'm the cause of this result. Oh, because of me alone, this person learned. So this is wrong to think. Why? Because all this knowledge I have is not something I created. I read, I studied, I lived with my guru, my spiritual master, for 3 years. I traveled with him a lot, and my parents gave me education. I learned from all the people around me, friends and colleagues, even at workplaces and even casual situations. I learned from nature. I learned from so many sources that it would be unfair for me to say that this person is thanking me and I'm the cause of their knowledge or whatever they learned today, because this knowledge I have doesn't belong to me. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So anything in life could be seen as this as well. We should not think that it's because of me, I am the cause. It's not like that. Not really like that. And this idea, it's something that I would never understand. In hip hop, they have this thing of saying, I'm self-made. You know, usually people who come from the ghetto and they become famous and they become rich just like that. Common in my country, common usually in poor countries or poor areas of the country like America as well. But in my country it's pretty popular. The boys start singing, and because of social media they become popular just like that, and they say, oh, I'm self-made. Because they want to say, I didn't work for anyone or anything. But you're not self-made. Your parents raised you. There was a lot of sacrifice in that process. Maybe they didn't study because they had to work to pay for your food or rent or whatever. And they have this idea of self-independence. Independence doesn't exist in this world. We think we have some sort of independence, but it's really, really small. It's really, really small. Independence. Look at the pandemics. The pandemics showed us how much we depend on each other, for example. Right? We depend on many, many things. So we should never think that we're the cause of anything in this world. I'm going to skip the last part because we have to keep going. Now, what's the other Dharma, the Sanatana Dharma? Well, we talked about Swadharma before, which is a temporary Dharma you have, which means it's your Dharma in this lifetime. Suppose you're a yoga teacher, or what's your job, Amy?
I'm a floristry teacher at TAFE.
Floristry teacher?
For flowers.
Wow,
yeah.
That's fantastic.
Everyone tells me, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, so I
think you could find a job here if you want.
I probably could. I mean, the nature's beautiful. So I've been a florist.
Yeah.
I went to TAFE and studied floristry first for 18 years, and then I've been a TAFE teacher for 10 years. So I still do a bit of floristry, but I really am interested in the flower energy, flower healing.
The holistic part of it.
Yeah, I've got a little book about, because there's so many camellias, so there's a good message about the camellias.
That's beautiful.
They're aligned, because you can align with different chakras, you can bathe with them, but just if you ever pick flowers, this is what I learned, just ask permission. Ask permission.
All right.
So that's better.
Okay, thank you. So floristry teacher.
Floristry teacher.
All right. So your skills, something like that, the things you like doing, your hobbies, or whatever you think that you can give to the universe, it's your Swadharma. Regarding the abilities you have right now or the propensities you have, but they're all temporary, right? Because you could last until the day you die, but then after you die, it's gone. So this is Swadharma. So we should not identify ourselves with them, but at the same time, it's pretty important to know ourselves maturely, regardless, right? To know, oh, what should I do next? How should I act? Should I take this job or should I look for this other one? This is going to give me money, but I think I'm not going to be fulfilled. And how many times does this happen? How often is the case in which you take decisions and because we consider something else to be more important than who we are, and then we betrayed ourselves. And then this can happen in taking jobs or entering a relationship or so many other things, moving to a place. So it's pretty important to know who you are even maturely. And that's why I always encourage therapy of any sorts for everyone. Now, on the other hand, we should not think that this is all that is. So there's another Dharma called Sanatana Dharma. This one means the eternal Dharma. And obviously, if it's eternal, it's not the Dharma of the body, but it's the Dharma of the soul. And guess what? That's an easy one. It's called yoga. But yoga does not mean moving the body. What's the root word of yoga in Sanskrit? Huge, right? Huge. This Sanskrit word root, the root huge, became yoga, became yukta, which is another variation of the same word in the Sanskrit literature, the yoga philosophy books, and yoke in English. So the idea of yoga is to unite, to connect, to bring together, right? If you think about it, how can you bring something together eternally? It means that it should not be related to something temporary. So it's not related to the body, it's related to the soul. The idea is that we are all spirit souls, and our main purpose of existence is yoga, is to find this connection with divinity. And you can call this divinity God, universe, whatever you want to say. But this is what yoga tells us we should do. So we understand that which of these would be more important? The temporary or the eternal Dharma? The eternal, right? Because this is who we truly are, we are eternal. But at the same time, we cannot neglect the fact that we are in a mature body, we have this family, we live on the Central Coast, or we live in Brisbane or whatever. So what should we do? What we should do is unite both. How do we do this? You understand that, okay, I'm a spirit soul, I need to do yoga. I need to establish a connection with divinity. But you can also use whatever you have in this lifetime to make this connection. And if you can, let's say, join them and do it all together, then boom, then you attain a very interesting sense of fulfillment. For example, I like teaching. My job is, I'm an English teacher. I teach international students in Melbourne at a language school. Do I love doing that? Absolutely. Does that fulfill me? Yes. Completely? No. But if you invite me to give a talk like this, it's completely different. It's next level because I'm aligning both of them. It's my temporary Dharma, which means something that for some reason I have the skills to do, which is communicating, teaching, or whatever. And my eternal Dharma, which is creating a connection with divinity or a higher purpose. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So this is just an example, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do them at the same time in a very explicit way like I am doing now. You can also just do whatever you were doing, because otherwise it would be easy to think that, oh, so I can only practice my yoga when they invite me to give a class at the Lotus Pod, but during the rest of the year I'm going to be in Melbourne, so my life is going to be empty and boring. No, it's not like that. Even in that setting of having a job, having a family, eating, and whatever you're doing in life, working, studying, you can also create yoga, right? But how can we do this? Let's see if I find a verse here. Oh yes, here we go. So the idea is that when you talk about karma and we transform that into Dharma, is we have three kinds of karma. Karma, vikarma, and akarma. Karma means positive actions you do which have positive results. Vikarma means bad actions you do which have negative results. But we understood already that neither of them are good because we don't belong to this place. We're going to come back here, even if it's to be rich, famous, intelligent, or beautiful. So what should we do? Get the hell out of here. And how we do this? By cultivating a karma, which means when you have a or a before a word in Sanskrit, it means no or not, right? So a karma means actions you perform which bring no reaction at all. And in this way, you subtract from your you withdraw for both your bank accounts at the same time, and until the point that you don't have to come here and you attain mukti, which means liberation, right, from a true existence. Now, how can we do all these things and still be connected and still be in yoga? The Bhagavad Gita gives us a beautiful verse. This is one of my favorite ones. Chapter 5, verse 10. Would anyone like to read this verse, please? You can read the English only if you want. Or you can try the Sanskrit too as well.
One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering results unto the divine, is unaffected by immortal action, as a lotus leaf is untouched by water.
Oh yeah, Padma Patram, the lotus flower. Now we have someone who's specialized in flowers. Amy, you might assure, might confirm, please confirm, don't embarrass me in front of everyone, that the lotus flower, although born on a muddy pond, is not touched by the mud, right? It rises above the water. How beautiful, how poetic it is. That's why actually in the yoga literature you find so many examples with lotus. The Western philosophers or poets, they use a lot of rose, right? In a romantic sense or whatever, poetic sense. There's a lot of roses going around.
Every rose has its thorns.
Yeah, it's something like that. But in the West, the Eastern philosophy, you have a lot of lotuses going around. And the idea then, comparing to ourselves to a lotus is, although the lotus is born, let's say the roots are in the mud, which means we are born in the material nature, in the material world, the lotus is not touched by the mud. It rises above. So we should do the same thing. We should rise above the material and attain liberation by spirituality. But how can we do this? We perform our duties, meaning working, taking care of our families, providing, whatever that is, studying, without attachment. We don't identify ourselves with any of these positions. And we surrender our results into the divine. So instead of working and thinking, oh, I want so much money because I want to buy this, I want to buy that, I need to work, blah, 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 or I hate my job, but I have to do it just because I'm here in this world. You work and think, oh, divinity or God or universe, I might like or not this occupation, but still it's a gift you gave me to fulfill my needs. Therefore, I offer it back to you. And you can do this with everything you do. For example, here when you cook, we always offer the food first. We have a prayer of gratitude for divinity, because divinity provided us all the fruits and vegetables, right? We can create some things in laboratories, but we cannot create a carrot or the seed of whatever we are eating. So we always have this sense of spiritualizing everything we do. And if you start spiritualizing your food and your job and your family, then you can have a life in yoga. And what can be better than this, right? You prefer to have a selfish life or a selfless life? The idea of yoga is that you should be selfless, act without any kind of interest, and offer everything to the divine. It's on the mat doing the postures, but it's also outside the mat, because 23 hours at least of the day are going to be outside it, right? So you cannot think that I'm going to practice yoga only when I'm in the studio. And by the way, it's being so distorted that even in the studio it's not yoga anymore, because there's no sense of connection. It's more like an aesthetic kind of thing going on right now, or fitness or whatever. I'm not saying that everyone does yoga like that, but it's mainly like that. Now I want us to do another meditation, so I want you to close your eyes and find a comfortable posture. Let's take again 3 deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, inhale. Exhale. What I want you to reflect upon, to meditate upon now is, what has divinity given you? What has the universe provided to you? What has life given you? Or what are you grateful for? Now I want you to do a little internal prayer of gratitude. Just thank whoever you want to thank in silence. Let's slowly open up our eyes. Okay, so we might have a good list of things that were provided to us. And the question is, alright, you have all these things in your hands right now, but now, how can you transform it? How can you transform all these things which were given to you that we might denote as karma? How can you transform all this karma now in Dharma? So I came up with these 5 steps. Transforming karma into Dharma. The first one is accept your karma. Number 2, embrace the differences. 3, empower yourself. 4, offer it back. And 5, transcend. Now let's talk a little bit, because it's getting late, about them. The first one, accept your karma, means regardless of the bringing you had, your background, your facility to make money, the way you look like, your health situation, accept it. You might not be in the stage of being grateful for it. You may still doubt this is the best you could have got, but at least accept it and try not to fall in the place of a victim. Try not to blame anyone. Try not to envy anyone. So this is the second one, embrace the differences. It's very easy to see a guy in the street with this car he wanted to have, or they post this photo on the socials with the perfect family having a holiday in Hawaii. Why isn't this me? Right? We should not have this kind of thoughts. So embrace the differences. You have to understand that as much as he or she has all these good things going on, they have a lot of problems you have no idea of. You are not aware of what people are going through, and therefore you'll be so unfair of you to envy them, right? You don't know. Maybe they're going through a process of grief for losing someone who is special to them. Maybe they have a kind of addiction. You don't know. Their mind is uncontrolled. They are disturbed by anxiety, cannot even sleep. We have no idea what people are going through. So the idea is that embrace the differences. Okay, you have this, I don't have it. But because I have accepted my karma, I've already internalized what I have, I'm grateful for the things which were given to me. I also understand that I have a lot of things you don't have. So the idea is understanding that you are a unique being, right? And because you are unique, it means that you have to contribute, because we need you. Without you, the universe would be not the same. But this is only the case if you apply, you dedicate yourself to transform this uniqueness into some kind of contribution, right? So this is number 3, empower yourself. Find what drives you, what motivates you, and of course if that has a positive impact on everyone around you, then fight for it and strive and make this world a better place. So you offer it back, right? Oh, this gift of communication for some reason has been given to me, so I'm offering it back. Oh, this gift of understanding or being curious or having the skills of knowing about flowers has been given to me, let me offer it back. But of course you understand that in order to do this, we should also try to implement the spiritual side altogether. And if we do this, then we can transcend. Then if we do all this, then we transform our karma into Dharma. And that's it. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. You're fulfilling my selfish desires of being praised.
I'll just get the Kit Kat.
Yeah, well, that would be great. Although, must say, by the amount of sweets I've been having here, I think I've had enough. And actually, the food here is so good because it's spiritualized and sacred, and you can feel the energy, the potency of it. I don't feel the need of eating anything from supermarket, really.
No.
Actually, I'm kind of... I don't even know if I'm gonna keep buying these things. You know. I will probably, but at least while I'm here, let me think that I won't.
Once in a while is okay.
Yeah, once in a while.
As Elmo says, chocolate is sometimes food.
Oh, I have to find that one. I like that. Is that from Sesame?
Yeah, Elmo from Sesame Street.
Okay, Sesame Street.
Great principle.
This is my social. So I'm on Instagram as Yoga Talks and on YouTube, and I might have to go on TikTok as well because many people are there. So I just want to reach as many people as I can and drag them from those things and bring them into a better place.